Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to talk about the errors and exceptions in programming language. So first let's discuss that what are the errors and exceptions. So as we all know that errors are the problems in a program due to which the program will stop the execution, and on the other hand the exceptions are raised when some internal events occur within the program which changes the normal flow of the program basically. So in Python programming language we have different types of error such as the type error. So basically type error is an exception in Python programming language that occurs when the data type of object is an operation is inappropriate basically. So when the object's data type which we are using is inappropriate, then this error will raise. So let's consider an example. So suppose if I am going to print S5 with my name. So as you can see that strings can concatenate with each other, but you can see that integer cannot be concatenate with the string. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that it is generating a type error because the object's type in which we are currently in operation is not appropriate. Alright, so let's talk about the attribute error. So attribute error occur when we are using the function which does not exist. So what does it mean that the function does not exist? So suppose if the programmer creates a function or mistype, you can say that the function, then this error will generate. So let's consider I'm going to create a list, and suppose these are the three numbers inside my list. Suppose I'm going to use a function which does not exist, push function, and I'm applying it and applying for the 2. So as we all know that push does not exist, we haven't learned anything about push. In Python there is no built-in function here. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that it is saying that the attribute error. So it is saying that the list object has no attribute push. So this attribute error often occur when we use the attribute which does not exist in any specific data type. Now let's move towards the value error. So value error is raised when a user gives an invalid value to a function but of a valid argument. So value error occur when the user gives an invalid value to the valid argument of the function basically. So let's consider another example to generate the value error. So in which possibilities we can get the value error. So I'm going to create a string ABC. We all know that a string is come in inverted commas. So as you can see, if I try to convert it into an integer, which is an inappropriate data type, that a string cannot be converted into integers like ABC. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that we have gotten a value error that it is saying the invalid that integer which is base 10 basically integer must be the number. So if I write here 2, it can convert it into 2. Basically we have discussed some of the errors we can get in Python programming language. There are more and more errors as we have discussed when we were learning Python programming language. So far this is our 103 tutorial. So we have seen so many different types of errors. So let's discuss about how can we raise errors when required. So sometimes in programming language we need to generate error when the user is not doing what we plan to do or what is required. So there are some things which are required from organization or from anything. So when you are required to do something and if the user is not doing anything, so you can generate an error. So how you can do this? Let's discuss. So we can raise errors by using the errors which are exist in Python. As we discussed, there are so many errors. So now let's consider a function. I am going to name this function add. So we are just going to simply add a and b. Sorry. Match, that is type of a is equals to integer and type of b is equals to integer. Only then it can return a plus b. Otherwise, it should return an error. So now, how it can raise an error? So for this, we can use a function, a keyword, we call it raise. So after the raise keyword, a space, and then we can write here type error. So as we all know that to add a and b, to add these two numbers must be either integer or float data type. So this cannot be string. So in our case, they must have to be integer in order to add. Alright, this is our requirement now. So if the user enter any other data type except integer, we can generate an error, just like type error we have here. And then we can call the error name, and then under the error name, we can also define the comment. So we can say that, oops, you are using wrong data type. Alright, so this is the message that we have here. So suppose if we call our function now, we are ready to go and add. Suppose I write here 2, 4, so it should appear 6. So what if I write I convert my first argument, which is a here, into an string? So if I again run this program, you can see that I have the type error, and what it's saying, that you can say, oops, you are using wrong data type. I should write here type. Yes, typo. Yes, now it is fine that you are using wrong data type. Now that is how we can generate errors. I should again write here too. Now it is fine. Now let's discuss more by using these two examples. So in first example, we are making a class of animals for their sound. You have to implement each sound function with each animal, otherwise it will generate an error. So let's do this example. So first I'm going to create a class animal, the name, and as we discussed that we have to implement sound function with each class, otherwise it will generate an error. So as we discussed OOP, object oriented programming, we first need to, after the class, our initiator function, and then we have self and the name only. So this is our first class animal, and name we have to assign it name. We all know that the syntax. So and then I'm going to create a function sound. So if you don't get what I'm doing right now, you should watch the tutorials 102 and 103 in which I was discussing about object-oriented programming in Python. Alright, now in this sound function I'm going to raise an error. So an error which we call not implemented error. So I can write here not implemented error now, and inside this error I can write my comment that you have to implement this method with each class in in each subclass, I should say that. Yes, because this is our main class, animal. So now we almost created our parent class. Now what we have to do, we have to add more classes. So first I'm going to create the class, I call it dog, right, and it is inherited from animal, so I write here animal. So as we all know that we need to create another, again, our initiator function to initiate this class. So self, as we all know that dog class is inherited from this main class animal, so it has all the arguments containing self and name it has, but it also has some unique arguments also. So the unique argument, we can say that I can add the breed of the dog here. Alright, so as we know that to access the name, we need to use the super function. So we need to initiate this function. Yes, I'm doing it right. Name. Now I need to write here for the breed, I need to write here breed. Alright, it is fine for now. I need to create a function which is sound. As we discussed that there's the condition to apply this sound method or this sound function in each subclass. So the argument is just self here, and I can just directly return here that it is the sound of the dog, of course, is bark. So I'm going to create another class which is cat. So I should just copy all the code from here and paste it here and change the name of the class, which is cat, and it is also inherited from our major class, which is animal. Now it is meow, the sound of the cat. Now what we need to do here, in this case, this error should not be, not implemented error should not be generated, because we applied both these sound methods in each class, in dog and in cat also. Now let's see how can we check. So I'm going to create a variable d and the name of the class, and suppose the name is Tony, the name of the dog, and this is the breed pup, and I should write here print d dot sound, sound here. So as you can see, if I run this program, yes, it is generating that it is bark. And if I write here cat, so it should appear meow. So what if I comment this sound method? So as you can see, if I comment this sound method from my subclass cat, so it should generate the error, not implemented error, that we have defined just here. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that not implemented error is here still, because we did not use this sound method here. So what is it saying? That you have to implement this method with each subclasses. So I should just uncomment this code and again run this program. You can see that it is working fine. Now let's consider another example we have, which is that we want to append the object of a specific class If user tries to append the object of another class, we generate an error. So now let's do this example. So to create the first specific class, which is our major class, so I am going to call this class mobile, and then again I need to initiate it. The first is self, and of course the name is name. So this is just an example, so that we only can append the objects on this mobile class. If we try to append objects in any other subclass, so it should generate an error, which we will define. So I'm going to I'm going to create another class which is mobile store. So this class has no link to this mobile class. So these are two different classes. So I'm going to create this initiator function also, and self, and so the only argument self should be fine here. So before creating another function, I need to create a list to append objects. So I'm going to create a list called self.mobiles is equals to an empty list. Now I'm going to create a function which is add. So in this add function we have self and new mobile. I'm just writing here new, just these two. So to check that if any object belongs to this class or not, there was a method we discussed which is called isInstance method, which checks each argument of the class. isInstance method, this is the method, and it takes two arguments. Suppose new mobile, which must be added in mobile class, that must be in mobile. So if this condition is true, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So I am going to create an if condition here. So if it is true that new is an object of mobile, then it should append self.mobile, which is mobiles, which is the list name, self.mobiles, and then we need to use the append method. So what if this condition is false, that isInstance method returns false? So else condition should raise an error. So this error is, we call it type error, that user should not supposed to add or assign objects in this class. It must be this major class. Now that object must be added in mobile class. That object must be added in mobile class. So we can raise this error, and now we can now directly give an argument. Now the name of the mobile, we call it the variable 1+, and we must need to use the name of the class which is mobile here, and the name of the mobile is again 1+6. This is the name of the mobile, and I am going to create another variable Samsung, and I am just assigning this Samsung, which is another name of the mobile, but this time I am not calling this class. So for the mobile store, I am going to create a variable m here, and in this m I am going to store this class. So I can directly write here and using these parentheses. So we need to use this add function to append these objects into this list. To do that, we need to create another variable. So before creating another variable, we need to call this function add. So I can call this function directly .m.add, and the name of the phone is OnePlus. Yes. So, and then I can create another variable. I am calling it m1. So in this m1, I just need to assign m.mobiles, which is the name of the list which we have just created. So I can directly print m1 0. Why we are using 0? That we need to just call the name of the mobile. So, and I'm mentioning the name, that we need to print the name on the screen. So as you can see, if I run this program, there is an error. What is it saying? That OnePlus is not defined. Did I? Yes, I forgot to write the E here. Okay, now yes, it is saying that OnePlus 6. The name is appearing here. So as the requirement is fulfilled that the user did not give the argument here to this class. It directly gives the argument to mobile. So what if I do not mention the class name here and directly try to append this S? So if I write S here and again run this program, you can see that it is appearing now an error. So what is it thinking? Object must be added in mobile class. Object must be added in mobile class, which we just write here. So that is how we can, I should correct it. It was OnePlus. Now it is fine. So that is how we can raise errors when needed to fulfill the requirement. So now let's move towards exception handlings. So what is exceptions? That exceptions are the errors which may occur during execution of the code. So we do not want to stop execution of our code, so we do exception handling. So that is why we do exception handling, that we do not want our code or our program to stop when any error occurs. So how can we do this? So let's consider an example. We are going to input the age of the user. So if the user age is above 18, so we can say that he or she can play the game. So if his or her age is less than 18, so we can say that you cannot play this game. So if the user entered any string or alphabetical input, just like A, B, C or any character, so we will generate another error, that unexpected error occur. So that is how we can do error handling. So I should write here exception handling. Yes, we are discussing the exception handling basically. Yeah, this example, while true. So that is, I'm using try, and age, which is I'm going to convert it into the integer data type. Input, enter your age. So I'm going to break it, and after breaking it, I'm going to I'm going to use this except keyword. So after this except keyword, I can generate an error that there is the possibility that user would enter any alphabetical character. So I can write here the value. V must be capital here. Value error. So this value error, I can say that print you entered a string. instead of integer, or we can say that instead of numbers. And again we can use except keyword. I'm going to print unexpected error. Alright, now if all these things were clear, then we can directly come out of the while loop and check the age, that it must be greater than or equals to 18. So if this condition is true, we can directly print that you can play the game. Alright, so if this condition is not true, then we can directly say that print you cannot play this game. Alright, now we are all done. So let's run this program. So he is writing to enter the age. So I write here the age and press enter so you can play the game. So what if I again run this program, and this time I write here an alphabet A. So it is saying that you entered a string instead of number. So if I write here again A, so you can see that you entered a string instead of number. So if I write here, suppose if I write here 12, so it is saying that you cannot play this game. There is the concept why we are using this print unexpected error. There's the question arises. So we are using this because if there is any error in the program, so this will generate automatically an error. But when we error can be occur when we are not expecting, right? So without exception the error can occur. So when the error will occur without our expectation, so this error will generate that unexpected error. So what if I write here the input command that so if I write suppose I did not write the correct spelling of input here, and if I again run this program, you can see that unexpected error. Why it is unexpected error? Because I write here a typo. In this example, we are going to take two numbers from the user. So if the user entered the denominator as 0, so we will generate an error which is called the zero division error. I'm going to create a function called division and give its two arguments a and b. So after defining this function, I'm going to use this first. I'm going to use this for keyword try and directly return a divided by b. So there is an exceptional error called zero division error. So I can directly print please do not divide it by 0. So what will happen if it divides by 0? Of course it will generate an error because anything divided by 0 will be have infinity. We all know that. So this error can be generated. So that is why we are using this exceptional error handling here. Now there is maybe another something the user write any maybe alphabet or any character. So we have also have the unexpected error, right? So I'm just by using this except keyword, so any error except the zero division error will occur, so it will directly print this unexpected error. So now we are all done. We can just print our function with 3 and 6. So as you can see, if I write here, it is 0.5, 3 divided by 6. So what if I write here 0, 3 divided by 0? So you can see that please do not divide it by 0. We have 0 division error. Now what if I enter a string here, y? So it is generating an unexpected error because the error is except the 0 division error, the error is something else. Alright, now it is working fine. Now let's move forward. So we have custom exceptions. So we can also put the exceptions of our own. So how can we do this? Basically, we can make our own exceptions called custom exceptions to know the username, to know the user more clearly. As for example, I am going to create a class. So the name of the class, I am naming it name short error. The name short, it is defined, it is the custom defined error. I call it the name short error, and in the argument I write the value error. So this is my class, and I just pass it. I am going to input the name of the user. Let input enter your name. Now I am going to compare the characters of the string by using this len keyword, len of the name, and it must be less than, if it is less than 8, so I can directly generate this error, which is the name short error. So to raise it, I need to use the raise keyword, and the name, and I can write here your name is too short, else we can print here if the length of the user if the length of the name that user entered is greater than 8, then we can directly enter here hello user, or we can directly write here name. I am using the string formatting here, so I am going to run this program. So as you can see, if I run this program, I write here my name, which is less than 8. So it is, you can see that it is generating an error, which is name short error. There is no error in Python, so this is the custom error which I created and raise by using this raise keyword. Now if I again run this program, and this time I write here this my whole name, you can see that hello user and my name is appearing here. So now let's talk about our fourth and last thing called debugging. So basically, what is debugging? We debug the code when to identify the errors which are in our program. So if the basic definition of debugging, we can say that debugging is the process of finding and resolving defects or problems within a computer program that prevents correct operations of computer software or a system maybe. So in Python programming language, let's consider an example that how can we use debugging in our code. So we are starting debugging, and the first thing that we need to do is to import this module which is called PDB. So this PDB module we use when we are when we need to debug our code. In this program, so basically in this program, I am going to take the name and the age of the user as an input, and then I am going to print this age. Alright, now let's do this. So I just need to take input, enter your name, and then we have the age of the user, which I call integer, input, enter your age. Now we can directly print that hello, your hello, I should say that the name and your age is this age. Now let's create another variable age and add 5 into it. Alright, and then again print the line which is saying the name which user entered, you will be age this in next 5 years. I write years. Alright, years. So now it is completed. So as you can see, if I run this program, there is an error. Oh yes, I forgot to write our important line. When we are we need to use this PDP module to start debugging the code. So I need to set this module set, and we need to use the trace. Now as you can see, if I again run this program, you can see that it is asking me to enter my name. I write here my name, and it is asking me to enter my age. I enter it. As you can see that it prints that hello and age is this. So the things that we need to understand to show the compiler that in which line we are coding, we use L here to show that in which line. Basically this is showing the thing that this line is being under process. Now to execute, we use N here to execute the line, and basically and when we want to, if we want to skip the debugging process, we can write the C to skip all the debugging process. You can see that now the result is appearing here that your age is 22 in next 5 years. So that's all about debugging. We briefly discussed debugging in this video. That's all about today. I hope you learned something new today. So see you in next week. Thank you very much for watching.